to gain the momentum.
Here's our Monster Energy starting grid. Scrolling across the top of the screen, there's James Stewart. Here we go. And it's going to be Michael Lessie getting the whole shot. On the number 800, he's got Kevin Windham right behind him. On the number 14 Honda, Josh Grant sits in third. Ryan Villapoto got a great start on his number 2 Kawasaki. He sits in fourth. Chad Reed, however, who said he was going to claim the points lead here tonight, went down. He's going to have a long way to go.
Chad Reed setting about, James Stewart setting about 7th or 8th.
Watching as Windham takes the lead as we come to the finish line jump. Reed went down. He's going to be fighting his way back through the pack, but Windham, who came into the season as a title contender, the veteran out front. Let's see what happened to Reed.
Watch Chad Reed. He's right here. He slides sideways just a little bit, and then Canary clips him and takes him down from behind.
Canary on the 52, the last chance qualifying race winner.
See, everybody stacks up there on the outside. And it's such a slow first turn area. The riders are really banging bars there. But finally, Kevin Windham, one of the fan favorites, is out front with Josh Grant. Local boy setting second.
And James Stewart is back in about 6th position. So the Geico Power Sports Honda of Kevin Windham out front. The Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota number 33 Yamaha Grant sits in second. Both of those not factory back teams, factory supported, that's a different deal. And then the first factory team comes at number 2 Kawasaki. In third, the green bike of Ryan Villapoto, having his best main event so far this year. There's Tedesco, here's Stewart.
And this is the type of start that Ryan Villapoto has needed. And he's got a little cushion here with one of the favorites, the fastest rider on the planet, James Stewart.
Stewart
setting back in 5th.
Injured his left arm in practice earlier today. Didn't really slow him down too much. He sits comfortably in 5th, closing in on Tedesco, who had trouble in his heat race earlier tonight.
And you can see as these two riders funnel through the first turn area and beyond, look how they just have to follow each other through the section. Now we get to the whoops. This is where you have the opportunity to pass. If Stewart can round this turn, picks up the front wheel as he gets to the inside. Yes!
Oh, he's got the move. He's got the position. That gives him 4th.
And that's what I was talking about earlier tonight, is how you have to be patient through these sections, and then you really have to explode when it's time to make the pass. You cannot follow. And James Stewart has done just that. He's picking his way through.
A lot of people thought Stewart was maybe going to use the record book as motivation this year. I asked him, have you set goals for yourself this year? He said, yeah, but I'm not going to tell you. I pushed him on it a little bit, and he said, well, okay, I want to shoot under 60 in golf.
Yeah.
He's not going to tell anybody what his motivation is. Kevin Windham, the veteran rider, came second in the championship last year to Chad Reed. And Jeff, he has finished second more times than he'd like to remember in the championship. He said, this year, I've learned from that. I've come in focused. I'm ready. I knew there was a few spots last season where if I'd done just a little bit better, I might be a reigning champ right now.
He definitely could have, but tonight, Kevin Windham out front looking very strong. Points leader, number 33 here. Taking a look at Josh Grant. There's Villapoto in second. Just behind them is James Stewart, starting to inch closer with each passing lap.
Villapoto only has one top 5 this year, and it came right here at Anaheim 1. He finished 7th in Phoenix. And for Kevin Windham, Aaron, he hasn't finished better than 6th. He has a shot at winning here tonight.
That's right, guys. It's been a rough start for Kevin Windham so far this season, but he's been struggling with the chassis, trying to get it set up correctly. He said he's having a hard time with consistency, and he's trying harder than ever just to try to get some traction. It's a hard time feeling at home on this new machine, but tonight might be the night where he emerges.
Jeff, last time we were here in Anaheim for the curtain raiser, he finished 15th.
Yeah, but he had a chance to win that there. He was in the top 4 and then got hung up with Stewart. But tonight, the veteran showing some patience. Is that what it takes to win here tonight? Or is it the all-out aggression? What's it going to be right now? Kevin Windham looks very comfortable.
Josh Grant, what a year this young rider on that number 33, Joe Gibbs Racing Team entry has had. Winning here in A1, his first career victory. And then going on, oh boy, he almost loses it coming down off of that jump. And then, of course, finishing third in Phoenix, and he's looking at another podium finish here tonight.
Well, and now we finally see the battle of the two rookies. It was the number 2 of Ryan Villapoto that we were talking about leading into this championship. It's been all about the number 33 of Josh Grant, so you know Villapoto doesn't want to be one up by the other rookie in the field here. So Villapoto trying to put together a good main event here.
By the way, when it comes to talking about the championship, Reed is now up to 10th. Stewart is 4th. The current points leader, Grant, sits in 2nd, and he could extend his lead here tonight if he stays right where he's at.
That would be a phenomenal feeling, but we've got 6 laps down of 20, and I have a feeling that this race is not going to finish up like they are right now. And the indicator there is that number 7 here, James Stewart, finally has closed up. He is close to Villapoto, so you know the pressure of Stewart here. They know what he can do on a motorcycle.
Jeff, it has gotten cooler here inside the stadium as we've worked our way through the night. Drop in temperature maybe at least 10-15 degrees. Is that going to affect things here tonight?
Well, it could affect things, but I'm telling you, as this thing tightens up, it's the tight section around the start. You have to be very patient here. Now, this is the whoop section. This is where Stewart excels through the second section here. The top 4 riders, you can throw a blanket over them all.
Well, and Stewart, speaking with his team manager, Larry Brooks, earlier today, Stewart on that number 7 blue Yamaha, they have really worked hard on getting that bike dialed in through the whoops. It's been a rough spot for him this season, which is unusual because he's usually exceptionally good at the whoops. They said they went in a different direction this week, and it's making all the difference. And he seems to be back on his normal pace through the whoops here tonight as he closes in on Villapoto, searching for a way around that number 2 Kawasaki rider just in front of him.
Wow, and look how each rider in the top 4, they are just so patiently following each other as this starts to tighten up. Will a rider choose a different line? Look how they have to, around that first turn is so hard and slippery.
The other thing that's happening right now too, Jeff, while these 3 pick their way through here and battle over 2nd and 3rd, they're giving Wyndham just in front of them an opportunity to pull away as Stewart moves in front of Villapoto.
Okay, starting to line up here. Can James Stewart work his way past the points leader? And remember, that's who Stewart needs to focus on, because, you know, Josh Grant is way out there in points.
Grant has a huge points lead over Stewart. It's about 18. So Stewart looking to gain as many as he can. Meanwhile, Reed in 7th. Came into the night 2nd in the points. He's going to lose points to Grant.
And if it's not evident to our viewers yet, you can just see how difficult this track is. It's not your typical Supercross track with flow and all these rhythm sections and 180-degree turns. This track is just zigzagging and snaking its way through, and it's very important for these riders. Watch this next turn here. See this rut that Stewart, well, he stayed out of it, but those lines are so important to be patient and to hit those perfectly.
Here's this rhythm section. Stewart closing in on Grant. If he can get around him now, he'll have a good half distance of the race to reel in Wyndham and battle it out for the win here towards the checkers.
1 lap shy of the halfway point.
Boy, Wyndham really needed to take advantage of this and disappear on these guys, and he's only got about a 1.7 second gap between him and Grant. That's not going to be enough if Stewart gets around Grant.
Yeah, and this track is so difficult, though. And it's difficult in a way that you can't just go for it. You can't just hammer it. You have to be very patient. Right here, no traction at all coming through that turn. Follow the leader over this single. Follow the leader over this double that comes down into a winding right hand. The whoop section, this is Stewart's passing spot. He's close.
That big bold turn. Here he comes. Cuts inside. Got him. And the crowd comes to their feet as a 2007 champ finds himself in second. Now, can he reel in the race leader, Kevin Windham? Welcome back. Here's Kevin Windham with James Stewart closing in quickly. Stewart to the inside. He makes the pass, and we've got a new leader in Anaheim.
Listen to the fans here at Anaheim Stadium. They're loving it as the fastest man on the planet. Take a look at the replay. He just gets to the inside so aggressively, carries tons of momentum around the inside.
And now he starts to pull away from Windham. Windham will have to deal with Villapoto, who's gotten around Grant. As you take a look at our running order across the top. Oh, Stewart! Trouble! And Windham closes back in.
Makes a huge mistake, but manages to save it. That's going to allow Windham to close back up. And you see Stewart messing with his goggles. Looks like he took a hard hit.
Well, he's not right just yet, Jeff.
Let's take a look at this. He comes up short. Just a little panic grab there. Wow. Not only short, but he landed at the base there of the third jump.
Oh, that could have been devastating.
This is where the strength training comes into play, because Stewart really had to muscle that machine to hold it from falling to the left. And now the mental strength, if he can regroup and not make any more mistakes, because this has really allowed Windham and Villapoto to apply the pressure now.
And Stewart, who works with one of the best trainers in the business, Alvin Baker, who coached Ricky Carmichael to many of his championships, now working with James Stewart. Here's Josh Grant, and there's Reed, who has slid back to 7th and now fought his way back up to 5th. So Reed minimizing some of the damage of the points here tonight.
And Chad Reed, after being down off the start, is only 9.7 seconds behind our leader, James Stewart. But it's not out of the question with 7 laps to go that Chad Reed can't rebound and win this main event.
Well,
he's absolutely flying.
And not only that, Jeff, but he said he was going to take the points lead away here tonight. He has caught Josh Grant. If he can pass Grant, he stands a very good chance of taking the points lead away from Grant, because even if Stewart holds on to win, Stewart ain't going to take the points lead over tonight.
Yeah, Stewart is too far back in the points. So Chad Reed knows that. He's getting the signal from his mechanic, Mike Gosler. He knows that taking the points lead is important, but he also knows that really in the fight for the championship, it's with Stewart.
This really is a fight for the points lead right here. It's a battle for 4th position, but it's really a fight for the championship points lead between Josh Grant and the Rockstar Makita Suzuki factory rider, Chad Reed.
You see on the Yamaha board up on the top of your screen, 6 laps to go.
This is a fight for second here between Kevin Windham and Ryan Villapoto, both riders going for their best finish of the season to date.
And you know what's interesting about this battle is Windham is the veteran. He's been in this series longer than any rider out there on the track. Villapoto, on the other hand, he's the rookie. This is only the 3rd race that he's had in the Supercross on a 450 machine.
And Windham, one of the most naturally gifted riders you'll ever find on a Supercross machine. As the battle between Reed and Grant continues through the whoops once again.
And he's Grant
on the
inside.
33. Reed on the number 1. He has the red plate signifying he is the champ, and he takes it through the rhythm section. Grant had problems. Reed capitalizes. There goes the points lead to Chad Reed.
Wow, that was a major mistake by Grant. Not sure if he missed a shift or something, but he didn't even make the triple onto the tabletop. Just handed the points lead over. Chad Reed now in command. That's the first goal. Grab the points lead. Now he has to work on picking up positions to where that even if he finishes behind Stewart, that he doesn't lose any more than 3 points. It would be 5 if he was 3rd, 7 if he's in 4th. So right now, these 2 riders have been wheel to wheel. Villapoto just cannot find a way to get around Kevin Windham, who's just rode a superb main event here, showing the mental strength and the composure that really only comes with laps and, you know, being a veteran of the sport.
That minute barrier has finally been broken and has been done by Chad Reed, the only rider here tonight to do so, and he did it on lap 12 deep into the race.
Wow, Chad Reed at 58.8.
Fastest of the night.
That's the fastest lap of the night. We're 16 laps into the main event, and Chad Reed is absolutely letting it all hang out. He can see number 2 here on our screen, the green Kawasaki, Villapoto. He can see him, he's close. Watch the top of your screen, right here.
And
here comes Chad Reed.
And Villapoto has slipped away from Kevin Windham. Reed is just flying. The Australian rider, a 2-time AMA Supercross champion, trying to see if he can take over 3rd position.
Chad Reed, 8.8 seconds behind our leader, James Stewart.
One of the things Reed said earlier this season was that he's a little older and a little wiser and very motivated. He thinks that's going to make the difference in him having a shot at this championship this year and maybe his 3rd title. He's on Villapoto. Here he comes as they cross the finish line jump. 3 laps remaining here tonight in Anaheim.
Well, if Villapoto really was off that lap, that was a 102.6. Chad Reed a 58.9. So once again, Chad Reed absolutely flying. That's allowed Kevin Windham to pull away. Chad Reed needs to make this pass quick to have any shot at Kevin Windham with 2.5 laps to go.
And he also needs that to minimize the points damage if James Stewart holds on to take the win here tonight.
I'm telling you, Ralph, I am really impressed with Chad Reed. He said it, though. It's going to come down to the start. Who has the track position?
Jeff, he's 2 seconds quicker than James Stewart's best lap so far tonight.
Absolutely flying. Fitness is there, too. Fitness is there.
When do you hear anybody being 2 seconds faster than James Stewart? Anywhere. Here's Reed alongside Villapoto for 3rd. Put the number 1 into the position.
That's a podium position. Now Chad Reed has to set his sights. 2 laps to go on the veteran, Kevin Windham, number 14, on the Honda. Can he reel him in? With those type of lap times, he definitely can.
And remember, Chad Reed had major problems on the start here tonight, hung up in a lot of traffic, went down, got up, and here he is already in a podium position and the fastest lap of the night. 2 seconds faster than the guy who is arguably the fastest rider on the planet, James Stewart.
These are the type of rides that you have to put in if you want to be champion. James Stewart, on the other hand, he really has had a great night, picked his way through into the lead. It's got to be a great feeling knowing that the rider that he really is challenging for the championship.
Here's
stuck
Windham.
back behind in 3rd.
There you see Windham and Reed stuck between those slower riders, including the 141 machinist Steve Boniface. He clears him. He'll have clear racetrack now to set sight after Windham on the final lap. And the crowd's starting to get into it.
Here it is. The race is on. 1 to go. What is up for grabs? What does Chad Reed? What's the urgency? 2 points. 2 points in the championship is the difference between 3rd and 2nd. And this is a long championship. But those 2 points are invaluable to Chad Reed right now. The lead, the win, might be out of the question. But 2nd place, that's what he has to do.
17 races in 18 weeks makes up the 2009 Monster Energy AMA Supercross Championship. This is only round number 3, and those 2 points critical this early in the season. Here's Reed. He's on Windham. Can he get him? Windham fighting for his best finish of the year. He hasn't been on the podium yet this season.
1 turn to go. There he is on the inside.
Reed goes to the inside as we watch Stewart. Reed is now into 2nd, and the crowd cheers him on. Stewart takes the checkered flag, his 2nd victory of 2009, but maybe the best ride of the night goes to Chad Reed, who will take over the points lead here tonight.
With the last place to 2nd. What a ride.
At the fastest lap of the night, but the man who will be on the top step of the podium, James Stewart.